let's just get straight into it. So this is Western Tabletop, and we are starting the first interview series for our channel. And Justin here is joining us all the way from Canada to talk to us about the November Skulls event. What is the title of that? It's Partisan Party. That's right.
Yeah.
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 So Justin is part of the committee for Outpost 6030, which is one of the biggest gaming clubs in Perth. And even though that he's moved all the way to Canada, he hasn't stopped organising bolt action events for us to enjoy here in Perth. I just thought, could you give a little bit, is there anything else that you'd like to let us know about yourself, Justin, in the hobby scene?
Right, so the main reason why I've travelled halfway around the world and I'm not in sunny Perth enjoying the COVID restriction-free environment is due to my lovely wife taking a job over here in Canada for 12 months. So I pretty much picked up sticks in December and after the last bolt action tournament, and moved across here. So pretty much have been in Canada since December. Probably experienced the most coldest weather in my whole entire life. I think it got down to like minus 25. But the main reason why I'm still organising tournaments halfway across the globe is to keep the torch burning for skulls, because I think it's a great sort of biannual event, and two, keeping me going, absolutely not going actually insane, mainly due to the fact that being locked down and been homeschooling a 5-year-old for over 175 days has certainly put me over the top.
Well, I'm glad that, your effort into putting into the campaigns and tournaments and things for us here in Perth, we're reaping the rewards. So thanks for all your effort. But I guess it'd be a little bit exciting to be in a new country and see what their scene's all about and how miniatures are played in Canada. A lot of the people here in Perth are really keen to know what it's like overseas, if the meta's any different, and what bolt action is like over there.
So it's a really sort of strange environment because trying to actually get onto the Toronto bolt action group was actually like trying to, herd cats. It took me like 2 months to finally get an admin to crack on with it. So I have to say the Perth community is extremely strong from a Facebook point of view. Toronto is very big into Flames of War.
Okay.
I'm not going to say which version because I don't want to offend any Perth players, whether it's version 3 or version 4. But if we look, I've joined onto a number of Facebook groups here, and Flames of War is quite big, and also the Napoleonic scene is quite large here as well.
Yeah.
I think the main, I'm doing something similar to what I did when I first got into bolt action, which is trying to grow the community here. So started off with running a couple of demo games, looking at sort of trying to get a couple of regular games going a week, just to try and increase the scene here, because again, everyone talks about bolt action. Oh, I've got 28mm figures.
Yeah.
But they seem to be in love with Flames of War over here in Toronto.
Okay, that's very different to what it is over here, which is a little bit bizarre because, Battlefront's a New Zealand company and we can't seem to get it growing here in Perth, but it's doing fine in Canada.
And I have to say it's been really interesting because they've got this awesome game store downtown. Well, there's actually a couple of game stores which has been great. I managed to sniff out the first one within 2 weeks of landing in the country, and this one was actually called Meeple Mart.
Yeah.
So it's about 4 times the size of Tactics, and it has over 80,000 products.
Yeah, that's
insane.
It's
a massive store, and you think Tactics is cool. Wait till you go to Meeple Mart, and you they were doing curbside collection for a while. and I didn't realise the shop had reopened back up. And the next thing you know, I was dropping my backpack off with my already curbside purchase goodies, and was like randomly wandering around looking at a game system that I wanted to get into next, or the next box that I was looking at to purchase. So I was a bit of a kid in the candy store for that one. I have to say, probably the big thing here is like everyone's into their board games. I think, again, namely due to the cold winter. So board gaming central here. Like I've got a actual board gaming shop on the main drag where I live.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's board game central, but tabletop gaming is a hard beast to actually sniff out.
Yeah. Okay.
Like whilst in Toronto, but from a point of view of models, it's a kid in a candy shop.
And is this unfortunately have to do a lot with COVID and just the bizarre timing for you to land over there?
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to finally track down a game at the University Gaming Club.
Yeah.
And that was actually pretty cool because we've got a really awesome public transport system here. So I was able to trudge through the snow with my backpack, jump on the subway, pop up into the university, and away we went. So they've actually got a really cool system where it's actually like they've got like the president of the club, and then they've got like vice presidents of different gaming systems. So they've got like vice president historical, vice president
very cool.
D&D. So it's a really cool setup. So I managed to make contact with one of their vice presidents who only after 3 weeks of playing a couple of demo games, I already got him into buying the Japanese army. So
fantastic. Yeah.
So so that was like my first full-blown game in probably late January, early February. And it was actually what was really awesome. I have to say, this is why I love the Perth community so much, was OTP sent me over some like a gifted the University Club a table of terrain, so we could
That's amazing.
Yeah, once it's lifted, the restrictions lifted, we've got this beautiful table of OTP terrain to play with as well. So that was that. And the only other game I had was, again, shop names here are crazy. Like I'm so used to saying tactics or good games. Here we've got Meeple Mart, Sword and Board, and my favourite of all is Hairy Tarantula.
Perfect.
I still can't believe I rock up to a game store called Hairy Tarantula. It's a similar setup to Good Games Cannington. They've got like a bit of a shop front, couple of tables, and I managed to play like a sort of 12-50 point game of bolt action
Fantastic.
there as well. So that's my first full blown game of bolt action, and then the COVID hit. And lights are out.
Yeah. Well, as you know, you've watched some of our casts and stuff, and obviously you're organising the tournaments. This will be like the second one post-COVID for Outpost that I'd be involved with. We're completely safe here and gaming, so we're lucky enough that bolt action hasn't really stopped, aside from the initial 6-week lockdown. So let's get straight into Partisan Party. That's probably why everyone wants to catch up and listen to you again. And I'm sure a few people are happy to see your face. But there's in you listing the event, it's just gone absolutely insane on Facebook. And all conversation I'm having with people, whether it be on Messenger, on Discord, at the club, at RHG, everybody is now really pumped for this event. And I think we're only a week from when you announced it, if not a couple of days on top of that, something like that. And it seems that everyone all of a sudden is absolutely really excited for another Skulls event, as they should be. And people are starting to, make lists. Even I'm thinking about painting some more models at the moment. And I thought I'd painted everything. But so I might let's get into the event itself. So the very basics are that this is in November. This is the Saturday the 28th, 7 a.m. open, starting at 8:30. So do all your check-in and stuff. It's $30 entry. and it's going to be, 3 rounds and a whole bunch of prizes. So
Yeah.
who have you managed to talk into sponsoring the event?
So at this stage, I'm going back to like our regulars. Like I'm really blessed to have OTP on board again.
Yeah.
So they're actually the guys printing out the Partisan Pete model, and I'll probably talk about that a bit later.
Yeah.
But OTP, I think like the feedback they get from players is they love a good gift voucher.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking at, again, Knights of Dice, Dice of War, probably some more tactics type stuff.
Yeah.
What else do we have? Oh, Amazing Forge has always chips in some good stuff as well. So that's what I'm sort of looking at this stage. But like, again, I'll see something pop up on Facebook.
Yeah.
They'll have something cool, and the next thing is supporting them, and then they're supporting me. I have to say, like, to me, OTP is one of the is an awesome company to support.
Yeah.
When I was picking up the terrain for, I think, Skull and Grab, which I ran last year, I had Emma and Dan pushing the kids out the door to school, and then I think they've got 6 kids. So then I was in the house picking up the terrain. They've got their 20 plus 3D printers churning out. They've got a resin set up in the garage. So I was really happy to support those guys. So we've got those prizes on the table, so to speak.
Fantastic.
But the main thing around Partisan Pete and how it sort of all came about was watching a lot of YouTube whilst painting. I've got this my awesome painting setup, which sort of looks down the street of where I live, and I sort of have the old YouTube on, and I'm trying to come up with new ideas for that. Looking at Partisan Party and previously On Das Side, a lot of players talked about trying to balance out the table, because I was sort of doing a lot of sort of attacker defender missions and trying to put an historical spin into the tournament, and players just found it really difficult because the way I like to run tournaments is have a best Axis and a best Allied general.
Yep.
Just trying to stop the blue on blue type scenarios, because people love to sort of play an historical element within the game. So that was the main thing. So Partisan Party really was like is basically an improvement to On Das Side, which I thought was an awesome event from what I can gather. It's always hard to gauge feedback when you're 15,000 Ks from a table.
Well, the last event that I played in was absolutely fantastic. It was some of the better missions that the actual side missions just added such an extra element on top of what you would regularly play. And then back to when we were talking about the prizes, I don't know how you do it, but the amount of support that you managed to get at the last event is obviously way above the entry cost for this. So and almost everybody ran away with something. And there's lots of opportunity to win prizes, but not have to be best Axis, best Allied to do so.
And that's always been my philosophy as well for the Skull setup.
Yeah.
So you've got your gamers, which are there. They can take away a dice bag or dice tray, or something of like as a trophy, so to speak, because in that way they can put that on their mantle or do whatever they like with it. But what I really want to do is keep adding players to the tournaments, because at the end of the day, every time someone plays in a tournament, they're going to play boltaction again somewhere else, whether it be at Good Games Rockingham, Outpost, Northern Boards. I think there's even a crew from Albany that are looking at coming up. I think there's four guys down there. So that to me is really, I think, what I've tried to model A, Outpost as a place to go, and B, Skulls in the sense of being able to have a really cool tournament. You get value for money. You're spending quality time at the hobby table, or the painting table, and then quality time at the actual gaming table as well. Because you know that even though you might have a bit of a stinky dice, you still have a chance of actually taking away something as well.
I'll say that bolt action probably is the fairer rule set to a novice, in the sense that there's quite a lot of opportunity and fairness within the game itself. That you know, I wouldn't. I would suggest people who are brand new to bolt action to turn up to this tournament, and I think you're going to have a fun time regardless of what happens.
Yeah. So to me, it's all about introducing new players.
Yeah.
Like I think there's nothing worse than, and I think it actually comes back to really the culture of the gaming system itself. Like you've got a couple of power players, you've got a couple of players there that wanting to have a good time, and you've just got some players there who just love painting historical models or have some interest in World War II or historical miniatures in general. And I think that is the beautiful makeup of the community. You've got guys who want to go hard, you've got guys who want to have a good time, and you've got guys who just want to be there.
And with that mix and the range of people, and it's pretty much 50-50 across the board in all those aspects. I can't do the maths, but whatever. Yeah. In the sense that you just never really feel that you're getting too much of an unfair game or anything like Correct. This. It's a bit of the nature of the game itself, but obviously the community as well. Yeah. So, let's go into the real special thing about this event. So there's two things. We'll get into what all the side missions are and what that means. Yep. But that's a returning thing. All those side missions are a little bit different to what they were last time. The Correct. New sort of feature is Partisan Pete, and you've managed to organize a 3D printed model that every player will walk away with, or perhaps Correct. Even have before the event. And that will be a feature of the missions themselves to protect him and put him in different places to score Correct. Objectives, yeah. etc. So I'll throw up on screen a little photo of the 3D print. But you're hoping to get this to all of us, all of the players before the event, so they got an opportunity to paint it, and it will be a function of the missions as well.
Correct, and it's also actually doubling down as the painting competition.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to do is people like it's the old. Quality over quantity. So what I really want the guys to do is get the Partisan Pete model. They can either pick it up from Outpost, Good Games Rockingham, or if like the worst case scenario is I've got a couple of helpers back in Perth who'll be able to mail the figures down to the guys in Albany. So I don't expect you to drive 6 hours to collect Partisan Pete. So there's mechanisms there to get it. Or I'll try and get it out to one of the guys at the Monday nights to distribute out as well.
Yeah, fantastic.
So I'll have a couple of distribution hubs to get Pete there as well. And then I've also tried to link it in with the Paint Some Stuff group, which is actually sponsored by Outpost, which is a painting group. So you'll be able to pledge Pete and paint him for the month of November, getting him ready for skulls. And then again, there's a chance to win a tactics voucher there as well, so you can collect some cash. But that's the main reason for having Pete in there as a couple of different things. Now, everyone has sort of been asking, how does Pete behave? Well, Pete is a bit of a renegade. He's a bit of a partying partisan, hence the reason Partisan Party. So even though he's actually in your squad, he doesn't count towards the models. So whatever you have on your list. So say you have a 6-man squad and he joins us, the 7th man, he doesn't count as anything because basically as soon as he senses any danger, he gets out of dodge. So he's not involved in hand-to-hand combat, not involved in shooting, and he doesn't affect the morale of the troops. He's purely there as a tag-along.
He's essentially being escorted and doesn't count as an infantry Correct. Model that's helps in combat morale or anything like this. No. However, assigning him to a group helps with a few objectives, right?
Correct. So that's how we get into the objectives, the side missions, so to speak. So really, when I look at it, I did Saving Partisan Pete, and mainly my look at the dynamic there was using cover, because I think everyone is going to be bringing a sniper to gun him down. So I was looking at that. And even when we go to actually kill Pete, Pete actually has to get killed on a 6. So again, he's not actually part, again.
He's got body on him.
He's got, he is like the Matrix. He dodges bullets. He disappears. He is the ultimate soldier. He is like Jean-Claude Van Damme of the partisan group. So that was the main thing there. So I was looking at, using the down order, using cover, and trying to sort of protect Pete and getting it through. And then Bloody Beret is like, again, more of a list selection, again, in keeping him there. Chase the Cache is, again, similar to, again, my my play on words. And it's mainly, again, trying to get people to bring Pete out of cover, which again ties into trying to protect him, which in turn tries to kill him. So there's a bit of synergy there.
Fantastic.
And it's also a bit of a thematic sort of one as well, where he's actually trying to find his,
stash.
Find his Panzerfaust or his stash. I do note that there is a typo in there, and it should read 3 round objectives are placed in the center line of the table.
Okay.
So again, thanks to people picking up my typos.
So we'll be at V4 by the end of this, I guess.
Oh mate, we'll probably be at V6 by the end of it. Yeah. So then I sort of added the bonus of putting the extra point on there for Pete actually being at one of the stashes. So again, it sort of adds the thematic, synergy and going from there. Via the Faust, initially I came up with that one as bring up the Piat.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to get that historical sort of link in with the old A Bridge Too Far, but that's when I changed it to Via the Faust. And I saw there was lots of comments on there. And John Beeson, I have to say that man is a champ for going through and, lots of comments, well thought out, and, and I was really happy for him to actually provide feedback on some of the minor nations, because I was mainly focusing on the major nations.
Four.
So it was, the big 4, and it was really good to have like a fresh set of eyes come through, pick it up and run with it there. So initially it didn't have anti-tank grenades, but it now does have anti-tank grenades.
Right.
So I put that in there. People commented around satchel charges. If you bring Japanese, unfortunately, the man dies anyway.
Yeah.
Because that's his
ability. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was a bit mindful of that, but they've also got guys with spears, with tank grenades, and all kinds of other cool stuff. So I thought, well, they can, that sort of neutralises that one out.
Yeah.
And the anti-tank gun is only for those nations which don't have a shape charge.
Yeah, okay.
So that's what I sort of wanted to go there. So if anyone tries to pull the Swifty on you saying, I've used my anti-tank gun to kill them, no dice. No dice, unless you're a minor nation and you don't have a shape charge.
And what's that? That's got to be like Netherlands or something like that.
Yeah, Netherlands. I think, like I said, John did an awesome group. Like, he had like Poland, France, Belgium, the Netherlands. So that was really good. Norway and Greece. Spring the Trap is definitely thematic. It's the whole, hiding in the bocage, waiting for your unit to move through and springing the trap. So that was the main one there. Clear out the chateau. I use that one mainly to stop people hiding Pete in buildings.
Yeah, okay.
So that was that, and it was also like, again, another sort of thematic thing of like, there's a tank hiding behind there, let's take down the chateau, or there's enemy infiltrating the buildings, or setting up snipers. It was just sort of, again, if any snipers are hiding in buildings, again, I tried to put as much synergy as I could into the side missions to try and make it as enjoyable as possible, and seeing if people, again, if they have sort of stinky dice, switch from plan A to plan B to plan C back to plan A as the games go on.
That's fantastic. So I'll just fill in. the side missions we were just talking about, they all have different scoring. Most of them are one extra VP. Clearing the cache can have two if you have Partisan Pete with you. So basically, the rules that you've set out, the three missions that we will play will be No Man's Land, Double Envelopment, and Sectors. These are all standard rulebook missions. All have their own tactics to actually play those missions correctly in a normal sense. But those are going to be dramatically changed with these side objectives because it's these side objectives that are going to score you quite a few more points than your traditional kill point VP or even the objectives in the actual mission. So for some comparison, the last event that we did, there were many people that, won the mission but didn't win on victory points because they completely ignored the side missions. So they're equally as important and you need to go for both. And your decision making is going to change on the fly based on what's happening, and it's going to go, maybe I can't go for the mission objective, but I'll have to go for the side, or vice versa.
So double envelopment for me is going to be the best one because you're moving troops across either side of the table. The question is who's going to hold the cache, whether you're going to leave like a rear guard in there, whether you try and get Pete off the board to keep them alive, plus score the 3 points for the unit. So again, I've tried to sort of blend those missions to, see what people do, whether someone leaves a cheeky sniper at the rear of the table and shoots Pete as he runs off the board and, again, triggers the ambush, plus takes out Pete and goes from there.
So I like what you just said about double envelopment. Were there any other thoughts to choosing No Man's or Sectors above any other missions within the rulebook?
So the main reason why I've sort of looked at out of the rulebook missions is one, entice new players in. Two, increase the amount of gameplay that people have because normally you spend 10, 15 minutes setting up the table, 10, 15 minutes reading through, and there's half an hour already gone out of your,
game.
2 hours.
Yeah.
So again, going back to my philosophy is trying to get 2 hours of awesome gameplay happening and people actually getting to turn 5 and turn 6 and actually trying to actually finish the missions themselves and actually go, right, I played 3 really good missions, which I already know how to play. So that was my philosophy behind picking rulebook missions. 1, get players in. 2, keep the gameplay flowing.
Yeah, fantastic. Let's move on to the actual conditions of your list. So some of the key takeaways are that this event will be generic reinforced without any of the extra theatre options that you might see that Easy Army would tend to sneak in. The points level is going to be 1250 and the dice are going to be no more than 12. And this has brought up a lot of discussion because typically 1250 is actually on the high scale of what we would play in Perth. But seeing that with a restriction of 12 units it's a decision that you need to make. You just can't flood the board with lots of chaff.
Correct.
And I'm hoping that was the intention. But yeah, just wanted to get your feedback on how that happened.
So with that there, again, feedback from previous tournaments, people, I normally like to play 1,000 points because people sort of have 1,000 points painted, which is always a good look for the table. But people sort of talked about, well, I can't bring out my big toys. I can't bring out my King Tiger. I can't bring out my Comet. I can't bring out this, that, or the other, like when it comes to sort of like the armor options. And what I was trying to do was get, people thinking about a list. And again, it's just like a different dynamic. 12 dice, lots of veterans. You could run lots of inexperienced. Like it's completely up to you. And I think that's the best part. Well, that's what I certainly enjoy. And watch people like instantly go, oh, I've already written a list. within 12 hours of me dropping the players pack, I had
Yeah.
people already writing lists and going out. But again,
I did it as soon as the players pack went out, and I've adjusted it 4 times over, and I've had a look at the models I have, and I'm like, I need another veteran squad here, so I'm going to have to paint some more Americans. Be first time playing allies, so that'll be a change. So this is really cool.
Yeah, but that's the main thing. The main thing is trying to get people to go grab a beer out of the fridge or a cup of coffee, sit down, actually go through the books instead of going through Easy Army, and actually writing something that they probably already have the toys for. So, because the main thing is actually focusing people on actually playing to practice, like practicing at either one of the clubs. And again, it's more about focusing on working on your tactics, working on your ideas, and you've pretty much got everything almost ready to paint, hopefully. And you're not rushing around sort of doing it. And then you're focusing actually on painting Partisan Pete. Making him the best partisan he can be.
That'll be interesting. I mean, every time I'm painting an entire force. So, spending a little bit more time on a character figure, that's actually going to be really fun. We've gone through all of the selection criteria for the lists. We know what missions we're playing. We know the side missions. We've got all of Partisan Pete sorted. So that's about everything for the event. But in the lead up to this call, we did get a lot of user questions about the event. Quite a few of them may have already been covered with the discussion we've had. So I'm just going to quickly pan through and have a look at some just some pointers, facts, things about the event and what people would like to know. Let me have a look and just see. We've got a lot on Partisan Pete. Everybody wants to know about him, and you've basically covered all of it, which is great.
I think what I'm actually going to do I'll probably drop another revision of the players pack, just to cover off like what we talked about. I think one of the questions I saw pop up is in regards to painting him. So so with that, or modifying him, Partisan Pete is like a stock standard model. I try and want to get all the Partisan Petes to look the same. If someone wants to go put a beard on him, mustache, sideburns, modify his hat, I don't know. What I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to even the playing field. But if you want to tweak him slightly, that's what I'm going to look at. The painting criteria for Partisan Pete, I'm probably going to put out in a couple of days. Once the model's out, and I think there's going to be, if you guys want to do dioramas, you can do dioramas for him.
Fantastic.
He doesn't have to actually tie him with your army at all. If you want to paint him German field grey, you can. If you want to paint him English uniform, you can. You can do whatever. I think the other cool thing that might work out is a little side story that goes with him. It can just be a paragraph about
where you found him.
So that's where you found him. I mean, that's what I'm sort of looking at. I want it to be sort of like someone's done a bit of research into him. Like he might be Eastern European. He might be from the
France,
south of France.
who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, or he might be from the Netherlands. So that's what I was sort of trying to do there. So the main thing is you can modify him slightly, but it's trying to get all the Partisan Petes to look the same and then actually judge it on that model.
The quality. Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We have a few things about the rules in relation to Partisan Pete. We've covered those. John asked, so Pete's going to be supplied on the house by you guys.
Yes.
When would we expect to maybe get that print ready? And when would we be able to start picking up Pete and painting him?
So Pete should be ready by, today's 13th over here in Canada.
Yep.
So I think he'll be ready by the end of this week, start of next.
Fantastic. That's amazing.
So you've got 4 weeks to just
to get
over
him
4 weeks
painted.
to crack onto him.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but like I said, double down, jump on the Paint Some Stuff group, which is on Facebook. Chance to win $20 tactics voucher.
Amazing. That's great. Double the reward. You got a chance with that Paint Some Stuff prize.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a bit of a cheeky one from Calder. He asks, out of all the players who've signed up, who are the players to beat?
Well, I looked at young Jackson's question, and seeing how only 3 players have signed up so far, I have to say Jackson would be would be the winner. But if I was a betting man, the two guys I think who will absolutely push this to the limits would be Russ.
Oh yeah,
because he is the ultimate bolt action player. Like, I know I've got through the Partisan network all the way from Toronto to the Monday Nights headquarters, wherever they are, I think in Armidale or Kelmscott, that there are like 4 Axis players training for this event.
Yep.
So I think that they're there. So Russ and the Monday Nights. I also think from the point of view of there's also like a couple of other guys I sort of look at as well. Old Gorchin is a bit of a smoky. He always comes through, and he understands the rules, understands the tactics.
He downplays himself a little bit, but he knows what he's doing.
He is the dark horse, and I have to always say that Matt Castles to me is just like I've played him a number of times, and I have to say they are the best games of bolt action.
100%.
That I've played, namely because he plays a very fast tempo game, so you get through all your turns. And his idea of deployment, dear God, I remember getting absolutely done over by an 88 gun, which he just put in the center of the board, had a 45-degree angle either side, and my tank feared for its life and hid behind a building for most of the game. But he is one of those players which is bang on. But the thing I love about this setup is anyone can win, because we had Quinn in his first bolt action tournament take it out for the Axis.
Fantastic.
We've had Ryan Buck as well. At one stage he was ready to flip the table because he wasn't happy with the missions, but then he's come back and took out best allied general. So again, it could be anyone. I remember Nathan Patrick taking out the best Axis general as well. So again, Nathan was very smart with his list selection for that tournament. So again, he could be there. But if I was a betting man, the short price favourite would be either Russ or Matt Castles. And then my roughie for the cup would be Gorchin.
I think you got to...
And Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson as well. He's all right. That was a fun one. Here's a specific one on sectors itself. We've had a few people ask this, and that's basically if they have reserves off table, will they come in on the sector that they've chosen, or will it be the entire board edge?
I've conferred with the TO for the day, which was going to be Dan Newton, and it's along the whole table edge. I've just got to remind players that there's no outflank in sectors. So they've just got to be mindful of that, but it's along the whole table edge.
Fantastic. That's we've had that be a little bit of a contentious reply back and forth on a few Facebook groups in the last few days, and pretty much unanimously everyone is saying it's the entire edge.
Correct.
And that's how it should be read within the rules in general. Okay. So Actor from Tasmania is asking how the scoring system will work, and he's also saying how to handle the organisation of players, lists and terrain, including supplies and setting up. So I guess this might be... Actor might actually know that you're overseas. So you are heavily relying on a lot of the people at Outpost to help you out. I'm guessing Andy and Brad are key contributors to
Oh,
that.
look, yeah.
And
So I was lucky enough to have support back in Australia. Dan Newton, I have to say, has been great as a TO. I think he's kind of happy that all he does is he rocks up and does his thing. I have to say Brad Warnock is behind the scenes. He put the TO's handbook together for me, and donated his terrain. I was lucky enough to have you guys at Rockingham Historical Gaming Society bring down a couple of tables. Like Nick Light has put some awesome boards together. And then I just have like the general community. I think they actually want to play these events on really good tables.
yeah,
And they bring their own terrain along as well. The club has got some terrain, which is there, and that's available. So from an admin point of view, the only difference is I don't talk face to face. I talk via Messenger. And the community supports me extremely well, and I'm very lucky to have such a great community behind me. From the point of view of like prize support, I've got emails because the guy from Knights of Dice is in Karratha, Western Australia. So Dice of War's in Karratha, Western Australia. Knights of Dice is Victoria. OTP I've got on Speed Messenger. Amazing Forge with Thomas Fu. I've also got him on Speed Messenger as well. So again, communication and lots of lead time is important. Outpost actually also puts forward some money into the pot for the tournament.
Oh, fantastic!
So that's why I can sort of react and get some promo stuff going at the start. I've actually forgot the most important thing of all, which is the trophy for the best Axis and best Ally General.
Oh yeah,
and that's actually handmade dice bags by Brad Warnock's partner Amanda, and she is an absolute superstar when it comes to that. So
that is amazing that she is still making those.
Yeah. So as soon as I've got the date locked in, I'm transferring some money straight to her. And the thing is that because Outpost is a not-for-profit gaming club, I don't get any money out of this. I blow every single cent on prizes, and I will buy whatever I can to
the coolest thing you can get.
The coolest thing I can get, and I get no money out of this. All I get is thumbs up on a Facebook post and a high five. So that's what I work for.
I don't know. We could get some video footage this time for you.
Yeah. But that's what I sort of work for with that. So the money for Partisan Pete's actually coming out of the Outpost.
Fantastic.
So that's how that's being funded.
Well done, Outpost.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. So you were talking about how you were painting at your desk and looking outside at some of the older buildings and stuff. And so Dan asked, what inspired Partisan Pete to begin with? And I think he's talking about the theme of the model more so than...
Yeah, so to me, it was one of those things where, again, it's that historical element that sort of kicks in. I was trying to find something that was sort of generic across many theatres of war, because like you could say, oh, I've got a captured soldier, but that's not really going to sort of cut it. And he's just such a distinctive model versus the rest of your force.
Yeah.
And it's my sort of my tacky way of trying to get like my marketing ploy going, because everyone doesn't refer to it as bolt action. They refer to it as the actual, everyone referred to On Das Side or Partisan Party or Skull.
It's not the bolt action tournament.
Yeah. So it's more of a, and that's what I sort of want to put it down to, is more it being about the actual event itself. The actual sort of equally as important gaming system. So I'm playing bolt action. Well, I'm playing bolt action Partisan Party. And again, it's just
really building a narrative.
Yeah, but without it being historical missions, and that's the main plan.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm just having a look. So I don't know if we got into the full detail of this. Russ talks about specifically where we were talking about the anti-tank grenades and Panzerfaust, Panzerschrecks, anti-tank rifles, suicide anti-tank satchel charges, and which would and wouldn't be capable for that side objective. Are we saying almost all those are except for the satchel because you have the anti-tank suicide team for Japanese?
So with that there, just to go re-clarify with that, satchel charges are included.
Okay.
It's only so then if your country doesn't have a shaped charge,
yep,
then you get access to an anti-tank gun.
Right. Yeah.
So Japan has anti-tank grenades in the form of a suicide bomber.
Yep. Yep. Fantastic.
So they don't get access to the anti-tank grenades.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Oh, sorry. They don't get access to the anti-tank gun. Clarify anti-tank gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything I discuss on here, refer to the players pack, please.
I've got a few more from Dan. He goes, which side objective do you expect would be the hardest to achieve?
Oh, look, I think chase the cache with Partisan Pete
on
the
it.
Bonus point, and that's why I gave him the bonus point.
Yeah.
For the 2 points, namely because the fact of you've got to get across the board. It's going to be like, I reckon, it's going to be like the rabbit and the fox type scenario. They're going to let the rabbit go, being Partisan Pete, and you're going to hunt him down.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be a real tough one to jag the bonus point for that. So that's why I gave that the bonus point. It also, like I was looking at the other one, which I think might be a bit harder to do as well, is spring the trap.
Yeah.
Because, you've got all these snipers on ambush. They spring the trap 9 times, and that's why I put the parameter in. You've actually got to kill a model, because if you go there, you roll your 3 to hit, and then you've got to roll your 4, 5, or 6 to take down the miniature on the other side. So that's why I think that was I've put that in there. So to me, if I was to rate them, chase the cache would be number 1.
Right.
Spring the trap would be number 2. And probably
maybe clear the shadow.
Clear the shadow as well.
Yeah.
And again, that was a bit of an interesting one as well, because I put that in there to stop people hiding Pete in the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just hunker up, like take advantage of the hardcover, and also people don't really destroy empty buildings. Mm-hmm. So again, it also helps as well for people to actually learn the rules for the game
on how to destroy them.
Correct. And with that there, it's actually got to be destroyed. It can't just be like, hit by artillery, or I've got my point. It's got to be brought down. Yeah. So your 2d6.
Yeah, it's quite a big commitment to get that destroyed. Yes. And I don't actually have this written here, but I do remember Jackson putting up a post at some point referencing specifically clear out the chateau and I think roughly it was around will it be somewhat symmetrical in the sense that there would equally be one building on each side of the deployment zone?
Yes, so there'll be one building.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if they just shoot the closest building.
Yeah. Or the enemy one with stuff in it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm intrigued to see what people do, whether they go for the cheeky 1 point and shoot the nearest building, or set it on fire, or do whatever, or whether they use that as cover to bring Pete up and try and target the other person's building. So that's where I sort of have gone with that to see what how the game plays out.
Rather than just dictating the enemy deployment.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, there's bonuses to destroying your own or not.
Well,
the bonus is the point, but you're going to need it for Pete.
As I've learnt the hard way through bolt action, it's all about cover. So if you destroy cover, there is you're setting yourself up for doom.
There's going to be someone who does it straight away. All right. I think that's a majority of all the queries that have come through. We've gone through all the key things for the event. I'm super excited. Absolutely a shame that you can't be here, but seeing that you're stuck on the other side of the world, you've probably got the better opportunity to create something a little bit more unique without all the pressures of being a committee member and being at the club every week, and then working and all that kind of stuff. So thank you very much for all the hard work that you've put into Partisan Party. I'm super excited to play it, and we'll let you know all how it goes when we're playing it in about a month, a month and a few weeks. So we've roughly got like 6 weeks until the event.
So like I said before, the community really is what makes bolt action in Perth pretty awesome, and I think I'm super excited, and I'm not even in the same country, and I love it when a Facebook thread goes off, because it means that people are reading the players pack, they're engaged, they're getting involved. They want to practice, they want to paint, they want to do all the cool stuff with the hobby, and that's what I'm all about. Because as soon as I get any quiet time, I'm sneaking upstairs, painting, sneaking upstairs, trying to put a list together. Hopefully, once COVID lifts here in Toronto, building the Toronto bolt action community, and there's nothing better than seeing some photos of home with the table of terrain that I've left behind, and people enjoying themselves and having fun playing bolt action.
Fantastic. Well, I just want to thank everybody for listening to us ramble. This is my first interview I've ever done. Justin's a great support to go through this. The next episode's going to be John Beeson, and that will be focus on the upcoming Bolt Action Escalation League that we have going on through Perth. So over the next 6 months, people have opportunities to play games at both Outpost and Good Games Rockingham in 2 separate leagues for Bolt Action. So one's going to be World War II Bolt Action, the other one's going to be Vietnam. So Vietnam, to play that game, you can go to vconthetrail.wordpress.com and download the rule set for free. I was one of the original contributors to that project. We're actually going to release a new version fairly soon. So go ahead and try that. It is just the bolt action you know and love, modernized, extra weapon stats, basically every kind of unit combination you could think under the sun that would have happened in Vietnam. Very exciting to see John really pushing that. And these 2 events are both firefight, so they are absolutely beginner friendly because you only need a couple models to play. The escalation is going to start quite small. It might be 4, 5, 6 figures, and that's your first game. And each mission you just grow with more and more. The other interview we got coming up is Sven from Tabletop Battle, and I'm really excited to get an opportunity to talk to Sven. Those who don't know him, he's probably one of the more famous Nordic YouTube personalities in the bolt action scene, and I don't know specifically, the correct maths behind this, but he's put out a bolt action video at least once a week for 6 years. So I think he has more bolt action content out there than anybody does in the whole internet. If there's someone that beats him, I really got to know it, but he's been very consistent with bolt action, so it'd be really cool to talk to him. And while I've got Justin just here, we're going to actually be talking a lot about 148 tactic there as well. And I know that you've just bought into 148, and that is the perfect game to introduce your heavy board game scene to migrate onto tabletop wargaming.
And that's the plan. Like whatever you do, do not go to Kickstarter. Step 1, don't go to Kickstarter. Step 2, don't buy 148 Tactics. Step 3, don't go into another Kickstarter after you've only just got another Kickstarter. That's my advice to young players.
My advice to young players listening is look at our YouTube video for 148 Tactic on how to play, and you don't need to necessarily buy the figures. You can use your bolt action minis. You can download the free rules off their website, and you can download the unit cards and just try the game out. And if you like it, go ahead and support them like we have. But it's actually a fantastic game to get new players into the hobby. They market it as a 1 hour war game. I think it's a half an hour war game. And I happen to teach, 30, 40 people how to play this game in a matter of minutes that had never played a war game before. So it's actually something really cool. It's just this hidden gem that's just not advertised anywhere, and people need to try it out. So this is Western Tabletop. I'm Jacob. I'm going to be signing off, and we'll catch you next time. Okay.